We get underway tonight at 6 with incredible new details about the 8 years Rudy Farias spent with the world believing he'd disappeared. In fact, this is our first look at the 25-year-old man. His mother says he disappeared when he was 17.
Today, Rudy telling investigators that he was home with his mother the entire time and that she subjected him to substantial amounts of abuse. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor broke this story and has his disturbing version of what happened. Brooke?
Yeah, Erica, and activist Quanell X has been inside of this hotel. He has had communication with Rudy all day long and tells me for the last 8 years, Rudy told him he has been sexually abused and heavily drugged by his own mother. Now, Quanell X, Rudy and his mother were inside of this hotel where we're at in Humble for hours today. They have since left, but Quanell says he was called here by the family. That's how he got involved. He stayed by Rudy Farias' side. He kept his head under a towel and says Quanell told us this was really one of the worst cases he has ever heard. He kept getting emotional with us and telling us he kept having to walk out of the room because he didn't want Rudy to see him crying. Now, Quanell tells us that Rudy told him back in 2015 he did run away, but he returned 2 days later and told Quanell that his mom threatened him that he would get in trouble if he ever said anything. Police, she would tell him, would not be happy about this, so he was afraid about what the police would say. For the last 8 years, Quanell says Rudy told him he was not allowed to leave that house until recently, and his mom would sexually abuse him. Then just recently, he was allowed to leave the house. He would go to work with his mom. Quanell told us she worked a security job, he says, and he'd also be allowed to talk to neighbors. We spoke to some of those neighbors yesterday, and Quanell says the only reason why he was allowed to do that was the mom figured enough time had passed that no one would know who he was and that he was a missing person. And I did ask, why did Rudy just not leave the house? He's 25 years old, and Quanell X told me that Rudy told him the reasoning for this is because his mother would give him a lot of drugs, and again, he was just afraid to go to the police. A few weeks ago, though, he told Quanell X that he had enough of this. He wanted his mom to respect his boundaries, so he told him he took her credit card and ran off before police found him at a church in Magnolia Park on Thursday. And back in 2018, police told us that a family member did call them because we asked police, did they ever go out and check the house? What did they hear about any sightings of Rudy? And they told us in 2018 that family member called them that Rudy was living outside of a house, but police tell us they never found anyone. Now, Quanell says that Rudy told him his mother made him hide inside anytime investigators would go there. He told me, Quanell X, that he felt police had failed this young man who he says pretty much has just flown under the radar. Well, he says his mom has been abusing him.
No child should ever be treated like that by your own mother. We asked him, why did you run away? And he said he just got tired of her not respecting his boundaries. And she said that he wanted his own life. And his exact word was, I was tired of living like a slave.
And Rudy's mother was inside of this hotel. She was going in and out of the room talking to investigators, and I had a chance to ask her a few questions. She did walk away and did not want to be seen on camera.
Jeannie, what do you have to say to neighbors who say that they've seen your son?
I tried to talk to her several times to ask her about these claims, but again, she did not want to go on camera or answer any of our questions there. I've been in touch with her, though, throughout the week, and she has maintained on the phone with me many times that she says she hasn't seen her son in years, claiming he was abused and beaten, and she said someone had kidnapped him. As for whether she faces any charges, we're still waiting on that from HPD. They did put out a tweet saying that detectives are not at a position at this time to discuss any specifics from that interview, and they can't say right now whether that interview that we heard from Quanell X, everything we've heard is entirely true or not. They did say detectives are going to be available tomorrow tomorrow. We know many people have questions. We do as well. So we will be at that press conference and we will be asking detectives for more information about what happened here, especially after those shocking claims. We're live in Humboldt. I'm Brooke Taylor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.